everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Abigail Killen, and I am a certified Christian life coach, as well as the founder of Perfect Love Life Coaching. If you don't already know me, I'm a certified Christian life coach who helps women own their Christian identity with joy and purpose through biblical truths. Welcome back to another video, and I hope you're having an amazing Saturday. Hey, how was that snowstorm, everyone? I bet it was amazing. I bet you loved it. How was the ice? How was the sleet? How was the snow? How was the rain? The ice cold rain, how was that? I bet it was amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the 13 inches we got here in Ohio. That was really nice. And not having a snow shovel or a plow, so we used dirt shovels to get out of our driveway. Yeah, that was really cool. Our job did not cancel, so that was really difficult, and that was quite a struggle to get around, but it's okay, we persevere, and we thank God that that is over. That is over, and we're all safe and sound, and I pray that your family is safe, and that your heaters are working, and that your houses are well insulated, and that you are safe, and you are having an amazing week, and it is going okay for you, because over here, it was a little bit of struggle, but we're doing okay now. We have our oatmeal today that is half eaten, and we also have a coffee in a cup that I actually painted. How fun is that? At a pottery place with a very good friend of mine. She did blueberries. How cute is that? So I've actually never painted any pottery that I've ever liked, so this is quite a surprise for me. So I quite love it. Anyway, but to get into the video, we are doing something very different than normal, and I'm going to be talking about biblical budgeting and what does that look like, what does that mean, and how do you do it? Now, to preface, I am in a financially stable place where I live with my parents, and I'm living pretty cushy. I don't have many bills or expenses, but I still have them, and I also still have struggles, and I have surprises that come up in life that suck out your funds, and it's very hard. And our economy and our society is financially unstable, unhealthy, and broken. And we cannot live in this society any longer without being proactive, finding solutions, and giving it to God. We control ourselves, and that's the only thing we can do. And so we need to get in front of the issue. We need to solve these problems and use it with biblically backed solutions. So, coming from someone who is a full-time college student, part-time barista, business owner, and doing church ministries on the side, life can get very full, it can get very noisy, and it can get very exciting. Without lots of time to manage, without lots of hours in the day to be able to spend for yourself or on the Lord, it gets difficult to stay motivated. And I'm sure for other people who are full-time parents, who are working 70 hours a week, who are struggling over in different areas of their life that they can't share with other people, I see you. I am sorry that you are struggling, that you are dealing with so much on your plate. It is hard, but we can do this together. And the Lord says that we should not do it alone. So I encourage you to stick around, and if this budgeting helps you, if this video guides you in some way, motivates you, then I'm so glad, and I'm thankful that we were able to do this together. My claim today is that budgeting is biblical. And no, I'm not talking about loving your money, because the love of money is the root of all evil. We know this, but it is important to steward the things that God has given you wisely. So, I want to go into a few verses that are hopefully going to support this claim. Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds. So the flocks and the herds are things that God has given you and blessed you with. And you need to take care of them. You need to keep them in check. You need to be able to have your eyes on everything. And as you continue in the passage, it talks about everything passing away and the flowers and the grass withering and nothing mattering anymore. And at the end of the day, the thing that matters most is that you keep your eyes on heaven and things above rather than things on the earth, because they will all go away. They will all pass away one day and they won't matter. So why does it matter to budget your money? Why are those two verses next to each other if they kind of sound contradictory? Worry about your flocks, worry about your herds, but then everything passes away and nothing matters? Well, it matters if you're doing it for the Lord. It matters if you're giving back to God. And so a few of the things that I want to bring up real quick in the real world is like credit cards, different bank accounts, not knowing where your money is. How are you supposed to stay diligent over your funds if they're in several different places and you don't know where anything is? Now, the world has sold you credit cards, has told you that you need these to survive, has said that you can't use cash for anything, that you have to use a credit card if you don't have any money. It's fine, you'll pay it off later. Whenever you owe the world something, it takes pieces of your life. it sucks the soul out of you whenever you are just giving and giving and giving, and you realize that you are in all of this debt and you can't breathe anymore, or you can't focus on what really matters in life because you've got too much other stuff going on. We don't want to end up in that place. If you're already in that place, okay, there is a way out, and the way out is making more proactive choices for yourself. But I'm not here to preach that to you. I'm here to help you get in front of things while you still can, just motivate you to understand that you are not dead in the water. You have a Christ who loves you, a Jesus who's walking next to you, a King who is there to help you and guide you, and he is the great shepherd. So his flocks and his herds are accounted for. Now are yours. And are you giving it to God first rather than trying to deal with it by yourself? If you are someone who has not yet gotten a bunch of credit cards, a bunch of debt, if you are someone who has not yet had to struggle with these things, then think about these things now. Are these things you want to deal with? Do you want to deal with having all of this debt? Do you want to deal with not knowing anything and being confused over where your money is? Because for me personally, I don't want to go through that. Now we've discussed keeping track of your money, keeping it in a spot where you know where it is, where you understand what finances you have, where you're at, and that you're not drowning in debt. Because when you're drowning, it's very hard to reach out for God's hand whenever you are using your hands to flap around in the water because you are drowning, because you cannot swim. And it's very hard to swim whenever you've created the ocean yourself. Luke 16:10 says, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much." Meaning that if you can't even take care of a little bit, God is not going to give you more because he can't trust you to take care of it. And I want to bring this up because I am not scolding you. I have been in this place where I feel as if this year is really the first year where I've thought about this as giving to the Lord. Because for the majority of me budgeting, it's been, because financially I want to be in a good spot and I don't want to stress and I don't want to be anxious. That's a good reason. The bad part of that is that I did not think about God at all. I wasn't thinking I want to give back to God. I wasn't thinking I'm doing this so that way I can be diligent. I was thinking I just don't want to drown in debt, which again is a good reason, but it's not the main biblical reason for budgeting that we're going over here today. So when God gives you a little bit to steward, he is seeing how much you can take. He is seeing how much he can give you and what you're going to do with it. It's like him giving you talents if you're going to just hide them in the sand, or if you're going to use them and then multiply them and share it with others. That's what he wants you to do with your funds. He wants to be able to trust you with the things that he gives you. He wants you to take it and use it and create and multiply and use it for the best of its ability as a tool, not as something to harness and keep for yourself and be afraid of and be anxious to use, as I've been convicted of doing because I've been doing that myself. So this year as well is a year that I'm trying to be more diligent for the Lord, not just for myself. Now, this is something I recommend to people who have a little bit and want to steward a little bit so it becomes a lot. I have my budget binder here, and this is really actually like my wallet because it has all my cards, all of my cash, and everything in it. It looks a little funky, and I'm sure by this point you've definitely seen them everywhere before, but this has different little pouches in it, and I'll show you. That does have my card in it, but it has little pouches of all of the things that I spend in, of all of the different things that I would use to pay for things. Like this has all my cash in it. How do I do this exactly? It's a little different because I have a job where this is pretty easy for me to do, but I go to the bank when my paycheck comes out and I take out some money and I budget it out and I write it down in a notebook. I write down how much I have and how much I'll probably use in each category, and I stick it in these little pouches, and whenever this money has run out for the week, I don't use anymore. I don't spend anymore. If I run out on Tuesday of all this stuff, I don't spend for the rest of the week. And I don't have gas in here, which is probably something I would add, but honestly, I think of that as kind of like a no-brainer expense. These are kind of expenses that I really don't have to be spending. This is stuff that when the money comes out of the pouch, it's gone, and it's a visual for me. I got this from Dave Ramsey, and I really like his teachings. I think some of the teachings can be a little bit outdated just because people are not listening anymore, just because it's gotten a lot harder to just pay everything in cash, to just pay in full. It's been a lot easier to just take out payments, installments, and have warranties and have plans. So I can understand why it's easier to do that. I do that too. But this budget binder has been a lifesaver, and I have not been using it as much as I should be for the winter months because it's been so cold and I don't want to get out of my car and go into the bank and grab the money and pull it out and stick it in the binder. But it is such a help whenever you have this, because I just want to show you how it works. So yes, I have all my cards in here, but normally I won't even have these cards in here. I'll have them in a separate pouch in my purse all the way at the bottom, so they're very inaccessible. But recently I've been finding that I've been grabbing them a lot more, so I stuck them in my pouch. I obviously have gift cards and money in my coffee section, and these are like, you can customize these whatever you want to write on these. I've got like for dates with me and my boyfriend on here, like if I want to help pay for something. I've got for food, I've got lots of gift cards in here too, which is always a plus. For shopping, I only have, because I'm trying not to shop at all, that's like my goal is to buy nothing else. I just put a gift card in there. I don't really have anything coming up where I needed to budget for any gifts, so I don't have anything in that pouch. I have stuff for a haircut because I really need a haircut, as you can see. So I put money in there. And then for church, I always put some money in there too. Miscellaneous is just for any change that I have or any extra cash that I had that I just didn't use, and then I can roll it over into the next week. But then I want to show you this. This right here, there's like all these pages in the back, and it has what you put into it, and then every expense that I made, I wrote it down. I wrote it down for the week. And this has been so helpful for me because it lets me visually see just how much money I'm spending and where it is going. As we talked about before in Proverbs, we want to make sure that our herds and our flocks are accounted for, are looked after, are seen. We want to have our eyes on every cent and where it is going. I check my bank account every day, making sure there's no transactions that I'm unsure about that I did not make, that maybe are fraudulent or something like that. I just want to be aware of every subscription, every payment, everything that comes out of my bank account, of my pocket, because this is my money that I worked for. And at the end of the day, it's also God's money that I've worked for that I'm giving back to him because I'm trying to steward what he's given me. So this thing is so helpful. And no, this does not fit in like a cute little purse. This fits in my giant tote bag because I don't have a cute little purse because I have a million things to put into it. So this is not aesthetic. This is not pretty. It's not cute. It's just my thing that I'm using, and I absolutely love it. And this has been one of the most helpful things for me to visualize my money and what it looks like to be diligent with it. Now we're back in Proverbs, and it's Proverbs 16:3. It says, "Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established." You need to be with him in the beginning of the process, during the process, after the process, through the painful parts of the process, through the joyful parts. You need to be going to him with everything, because this is such a hard process when you're trying to do things alone, when you're not using his guidance. Whenever you're really struggling and you want to go spend something and it's kind of maybe making you emotional. Like sometimes I've been sitting and I'm like, I like sit at the Dunkin' parking lot or something, and I sit there and I cry and I'm like, I want something, but I just know that I don't need it. And I know that I can make it at home. And it's not about saving money at that point. It's just about control. It's about discipline. This all comes down to the discipline aspect of it, the self-control, that the love of money, the way that we lay on it, we rest ourselves on it, we make money our foundation for life because we're so afraid of losing it. It makes us anxious. We tie so much worth to how much we have, even if it's not financial, but it's just monetary things that we have, just items, TV, house, car, vacation home, or how many days we spend doing something. Like the things that we own, the things that we have, the things that we rest all of our worth into that aren't God, it takes a little bit more out of us each day. And we all need to be having more control, more diligence, more resistance to the devil, more resistance to our flesh, to temptations. That's what this boils down to. That's why it says, "Commit your works unto the Lord, and your thoughts shall be established." Your thoughts will be clear. You'll be able to see things properly. You'll be able to get to the point of things, the root of it. You'll be able to start solving your issues and getting in front of it, being proactive and making action plans rather than having to catch up, because no one likes to have to just keep catching up in life. It gets tiring. And then Proverbs 21:5 is really the main verse that I wanted to use for this, and that's the main thing that spurred me on to make this video. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of every one that is hasty only to want. This verse is so powerful because it talks about that whenever you're diligent, not whenever you do super good, not whenever you are super strong and able and you never slip up, but the diligent, the people who are willing to persist, they have plenty. They are given more. And the people who are hasty, the ones who are too quick, the ones who are trying to make things quickly and not build something real, something plenteous, something that really matters, when they just try to stumble through life quickly because they don't want to sit through the process. They don't want to yearn. They don't want to be diligent. Those are the ones that want. Those are the ones that are poor. Those are the ones that are left yearning for things that they won't have. And that just shows how much grace God gives to you whenever you do the right thing. Whenever you continue to do the right thing, when you can continue to keep doing things for the Lord, when you continue to do them for the right reasons in the right way, when you try your best, the Lord rewards you. And then I want to show you one more way that I use to do diligent biblical budgeting, and that is with the 100 envelope savings challenge. It's a lot bigger than this. This does not go in my purse, although it could definitely fit with how big it is. This has 100 little envelopes in it. And I'm going to go to the back because I'm not trying to show you all my money or anything. I'm just trying to be honest about these little envelopes here and what it looks like. These little envelopes here in this, it's to 100, and you literally put for each one, the first slot would be $1, the second slot would be $2, the third slot $3. The 100th spot would be $100. And at the end of this, you'll have $5,000 saved up in this book. I have never filled this because I kind of stopped and I didn't continue it, but I'm still putting things into it. And the reason I'm able to put things into it is because I take all of my tip money that I make from my job and I put it into this book. I take every single thing that I make and I stick it into this book because I know that with that tip money, if I just use it up, I won't have it anymore. And I could be saving hundreds and thousands of dollars if I just saved a little bit each time. So whenever I take out my money for this, I also take out an extra little bit and I stick it in here along with my tip money each time. And so then I'm double saving. Then I have something aside. And I use this yellow binder as my sinking fund. And I got that term from Dave Ramsey, and I don't know if that's a term that's just been around forever, and I'm sure it's just normal and everyone knows what it is. But for me, this was crazy new information that whenever I was in finance class, which is awesome, by the way, to have a finance class in school, the sinking fund really caught my attention because he was saying that you never have a surprise. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense because there are so many surprises in life. But it's true. You never will have a surprise if you plan for surprises because you know that something's coming, always. You know that there's always going to be something unexpected, that life always throws curveballs, and that you are always going to have an issue arise. And it's nice to be prepared. It's nice to have a sinking fund that you have that's outside of your checking, that's outside of your savings, that's completely separate. So I did it in cash. I just have everything in cash because if I have it in this little book, I'm not going to touch it. It's not in an account where I can just swipe a card. It's in cash and it's closed in this little book, and it's very satisfying to start racking up pages of this money that I know is going to be there if something happens. I don't have to worry so hard. I can start saving for my future. So this book is a great idea. They have plenty of different versions of this, and even these go a long way because you're showing yourself that you can be diligent for something. It's not always about the money itself. Whenever people quit their addictions, whenever maybe they quit pornography or drinking or smoking or something, they're not even really so worried about the fact that they're not smoking. They're so proud of themselves for being able to get out of that. They're so proud of themselves for being free from something, because that is what your soul yearns for, being free. And you will not be more free than whenever you are free in Jesus, when he gives you that abundant life, and he gives you that water that overflows and never dries up, whenever he quenches your thirst, whenever he gives you eternity. That is a life that I want to live. That is a life that I yearn for. That is what setting your sights on above rather than the earth looks like. This year, I want you to focus on planning for preparation. Slow down. Life is not a race, and the only thing that is a race is your spiritual walk, running for the Lord, running a marathon. But marathons have walking, have jogging, sprinting, have full-blown running. Marathons have a bunch of different ways that you are getting to the finish line. And sometimes you need to take a second to breathe, to stop, to get a drink of water, to plan. And you can't run a race without preparation. You can't build without a preparation. Luke 14:28 says, "For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? 29, lest haply after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him." It is important that you plan out things in your life, that you plan out big expenses, that you plan out your day-to-day, that you plan out your weeks, that you think about things, that we don't sit on our phones and sit with our thoughts and sit and complain or wallow or feel so sad about things that are happening. Life is hard enough. Do not continue to make it hard on yourself. Do not continue to wallow, to sit. Do not continue to sit in this season of regret, of guilt. We are not doing that this year. We are not doing that moving forward. I'm not saying that 2026, having a whole new year, changes you, but you change you, and you should start right now. You should start planning, preparing, thinking about things. It is not ever too late to start planning, to start preparing, to start living for Christ, to start living for yourself and not for other people. It is not ever too late. And you are supposed to be doing whatever you can to steward what God has given you, to prepare for the worst outcome, to prepare for life at its best, at its worst, at its easiest, at its hardest. You deserve it. God deserves your humility, your honor. He deserves you giving back to him in humility, in servanthood. Being a servant to the Lord, stewarding the things that he has given you is one of the main parts of living out your Christian walk, of being a good servant, of being a good follower of Jesus Christ, not just in name, but in your walk, of your faith being by works, that people see that he is your Christ, that he is your God, that he is your King, that this world is not your king, cash is not your king, but God is. And so give back to him. Give yourself less stress, less anxiety. It says that even the lilies of the valley don't tremble, they don't stress, they don't worry, they don't have anxiety, because they know who takes care of them. I want you to know who takes care of you. And I want you to be able to start taking care of yourself a little bit as well. Let the Spirit guide you and let him help you through these troubles. You are not alone. You are a fellow believer in Christ. You have Christ by your side. Anyway, guys, that is it for today's video. I pray that it helped you, that it encouraged you a little bit in different ways, even if it's just to see another example of someone who I promise is like you, who is struggling in some ways, but is also very blessed in some ways. And when you're in that in-between, it's hard to know what to do. Whenever you're down in the depths, it's hard to know what to do. And I promise you, Jesus is always the answer. Even if it's the hard answer, it's the true one. And he gives you life and life more abundantly. Anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you have an amazing rest of your week and a happy rest of your Saturday. I love you guys so much, and stay safe, stay blessed, and enjoy yourself. Bye!